Hi, everyone. My name is Anshika with Amritt, and I'm here with novelist and businessman Michael Wendroff. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Yeah. Michael Wendroff, and I am a global marketing strategist. And now I am also an author. My debut novel, What Goes Around, was recently published and is being translated into a number of different languages.
What prompted you to write a novel?
Well, actually, the impetus for this was something that happened the second I was born. I was put on my mother's chest. She looked deeply into my eyes and said, I'm told, she said, "Oh, how nice to see you again." And it was that again part that always intrigued me. And I always wanted to write something or do something with that. And I happen to also come from a family where we're around books and authors. My mother was actually an editor at major New York City publishing houses. In fact, I remember distinctly on weekends seeing her sitting cross-legged on her bed and manuscript pages strewn about her. Her red pen was out, making notations all over. So at least, when it came time for me to get my editor's feedback, it wasn't in red ink, but those comments in the margins of the Word document where at least I'll say I was prepared to see a lot of comments based on seeing my mother and her red pen. And then she married remarried a literary agent, and he was an agent of a lot of famous authors. One was Robert Ludlum, who you may know from the Born Identity movies with Matt Damon. And I remember once we spent a few days at his winter home in St. Thomas. And I remember distinctly waking up early one morning and going into the living room where he was sitting on the couch with these yellow legal pads and number two pencil in hand, writing away, scribbling away. And that's how he wrote his 450-page novels by hand. I mean, thank God when it came time for me to write my novel, I had a PC. I don't think I could have done it that way. But so I was around books and writers. I would have liked to be a writer, but business career took precedence. I went to NYU, both undergrad, and I got my MBA from NYU, and then I worked for many years in consumer packaged goods with a couple of different companies. And while I still read, I still hadn't tried to write it. And it was really the COVID pandemic that got me going because there was that one point during the pandemic where, you couldn't go to the beach, you couldn't go out to eat, you couldn't go to the movies, couldn't play tennis, we couldn't do anything. So I had no more excuses. So I sat down, went ahead and wrote it, and thankfully, agent took it on and a publisher bought it. So it was great.
That's awesome. Writing is definitely, I feel, in your blood if you're from a family of writers. So I'm glad that you were finally able to have the time to bring this idea to fruition.
Yep. Thank you.
So, can you tell me a little more about your novel and what it's about?
Sure. I mean, it's a thriller, my debut thriller, and it has a major twist ending. That's a bit unusual from what is the norm there. And it starts out with there's some um, mysterious shootings going on in a small community. There are two detectives assigned to investigate it. They hate each other based on prior experiences. One is a guy, a big, brawny guy. If you know Jack Reacher from Lee Child's books, someone kind of like him uses his fists. And then there's his partner, female detective, is brainy and beautiful, and they basically have to try and figure out who's killing people before they kill each other. And along the way, while they're pursuing it, they get into the secret worlds of some hate groups, incels and supremacists. And there's a lot of twists and turns in the novel. And eventually, the major twist ending is quite original. People really like that. And if you like the movie The Sixth Sense, if you remember that movie, you'll like my book because of that ending. And when I wrote the book, my style is really to write in short chapters because I think that propels the reader on. They feel like they're moving making progress. And I like to end each chapter on a bit of a cliffhanger, and that could be, emotional or physical or psychological. And then I like to start the next chapter with a very intriguing sentence that, the reader's going to say, what's going on. So that way it keeps going. And actually, there's a quote from a best-selling novelist, J.D. Barker, on the cover, which I love. He said that relentless and gritty, Wendroff expertly weaves a narrative that begs just one more page. And that's exactly what I was trying to achieve, getting that consumer to want to keep going, keep going. So that's kind of what it's about in a nutshell.
Awesome. That sounds like a very interesting novel. I can't wait to pick it up.
Cool, cool. And
Um,
it's available in ebook, hardcover, and audiobook in
awesome.
USA,
Awesome.
UK, Australia, India too.
Perfect. Glad to hear it. Many writers are influenced by their prior experiences. Did working in the personal care industry or traveling to India impact your story in any way?
Yeah, I would say so. First of all, working in marketing, the number one job is to figure out and fulfill consumer needs. So I would certainly read a lot of thrillers and mysteries and understand, what to be successful in a category, what consumers are looking for. They're looking, to be surprised, and they're looking for the book to keep them moving and page turning. So general marketing 101 definitely is involved in the book genre. And then when it comes to advertising, of course, I was involved in a lot of advertising. And, in advertising, you learn that, every word counts. And even though I wrote 90,000 words, still I feel every word counted. And of course, in advertising, you need a hook right at the start to intrigue the viewer, and you need something to keep them going in the story. So, I mean, so my general makeup from all of my years in advertising and marketing definitely had me thinking along a certain way. And then in terms of India, I'd say, India is a very spiritual country. And, in my twist ending, I do hearken back to that type of thing. I mean, um, ultimately, my story is a story of redemption, and it really kind of challenges the boundaries of life and death. And that's all I'll say from now.
All right, all right. Keep the people guessing. That's part of what it is, writing a thriller.
That's right.
So who is your ideal reader for your book?
So my ideal reader, well, it's doing quite well, and we've actually got some research already in on who's been responding to it. And good thing is it's both a male and a female audience that are buying and liking it. So, it's got the action in it, but it's also got a lot of emotion. I mean, it's also really about love and loss and the unbreakable bonds that do transcend time, at least in this novel. And and in terms of age, it looks like it starts around age 30, the buyers and likers, and really goes, all the way up from there. So my ideal reader, obviously they like thrillers, mysteries, but also, just people that like a good story and, are intrigued by, what I hope is good writing. So that I'd say is who the ideal reader is for it right now.
Awesome. Your book was released last October, I believe, right?
Yeah, just a few months ago.
And it's already gotten some great reviews. So what's next for you? Are you working on a new novel?
I have been very happy with the reviews, as you mentioned, both, consumer, but I was also just very lucky to get a lot of best-selling thriller writers and best-selling mystery writers to say good things about my book. I'll just give you one more
Definitely.
from my good book, which was from the best-selling author Lisa Black, and she said, "A great debut. What goes around starts off at a breakneck pace and doesn't let up until it reaches its unexpected conclusion." So, based on the good feedback I've gotten so far from readers and other authors, um, I have started on another novel, and it is going to have the same two main characters that are in What Goes Around. Publishers like that because if you've got a bunch of people to read the first one, they start to get invested in the characters. So it's almost like building a brand where you want to have certain things that are the same that it stands for. So it will be a brand that has those two characters in it. It will have a lot of twists and turns and be a page turner. It'll involve a kidnapping this time, but it will also have that major twist ending. So stay tuned.
Awesome. That sounds very interesting. If you guys are interested in checking out a great thriller novel, check out What Goes Around by Michael Wendroff. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, Michael. I really enjoyed our time chatting, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. You too. Take care.